Recruiters play a really important role in supporting organisations with their EDI agenda and their targets, because it isn't just a target, it's something that should be woven into the fabric of any organisation and recruitment process.
It's our role when we take on a new piece of work to really listen to the client's ambitions for their EDI plans and goals, and we really need to soak those up before we go out to the market.
Local government is our kind of key client base, and it's of crucial importance that they represent the communities that they serve, particularly at that senior leadership level, so that people have something to aspire to, but also can relate to those that are running the organisation. That's something that we can help with throughout a process, ensuring EDI is at the forefront of people's mindsets, and equally, not just through the process, but through onboarding as well.
It should be inherent actually to every single organisation, and we should be there to support our clients in what that looks like, whether that's helping them to address unconscious bias in their panels and in their organisations, whether that's to help them understand what an inclusive process looks like, or whether that's to help them look at their advertising and where they take that out, and what channels they use to advertise their organisation. We're there to help them build and work on their brand. We're an extension of our clients. So actually we play a really important role in ensuring that EDI is front and centre. So advertising is really important because actually it's the first impression that any potential candidate gets of your organisation. So thinking about the wording that you're using, thinking about where you're actually advertising and your target audience is really important when you're pulling all of that together. The images that you use, the language that you use, really thinking about what that looks like.
When we advertise jobs on behalf of our clients, it's our job to make sure that we've equalities proofed everything, to make sure the materials are as open and inclusive as possible.
So there's many ways you can ensure that the role profiles in particular attract a diverse range of candidates. One of the main ones is ensuring the kind of essential and qualifying criteria aren't too rigid and advising clients accordingly.
So we use something called the Gender Bias Decoder tool, for example. And when we've written an advert or a job description or any materials relating to a campaign, we run any of that content through this decoder tool, and essentially it tells us which words are more heavily weighted towards males or females, and we then can sort of rewrite the copy to make sure it's as inclusive as possible and appeals to both. We think there are a few different ways to try and minimise bias in recruitment processes or to remove it completely. So we're really proud of the fact that we've created a set of inclusive recruitment principles that we've published and that we share with our clients and that we live by. And there are a number of different ways that we can remove bias.
One is to ensure you equality and diversity proof all the materials you use, and there's plenty of materials that go into a particularly permanent process.
You need to look at how you're taking yourself out to the market, whether that's your adverts, whether that's your job descriptions. Certain language can be off-putting, certain perceptions that are out there can be quite off-putting for candidates.
Small but effective way of removing bias is to not share current salary information for candidates that are applying for jobs that pay more. Quite often some of our clients might look at a candidate's current salary versus their own salary on offer and think it's too much of a leap upwards, and they'll rule the candidate out before they've even considered them. So our role is to protect that private information about the candidate's current salary and only present the sort of technical information that makes sure they can actually make that step up regardless of salary.
Another is to have many touch points in a process. So it can feel like a bit of a marathon rather than a sprint in terms of all the different panels and various kind of sessions and panels you have to go through.
Another way that you could potentially remove unconscious bias is to do blind recruitment, where we anonymise every single CV that we've found for a candidate going forward for a job. So literally we just have job title and experience, and then we sort of make an assessment based on that.
I think the starting point is thinking about who you have on your panel. It needs to be representative and it needs to make the person on the other side feel really comfortable.
So considering factors like gender, race, age and sexual orientation and many other factors, ensuring there's a real mix and diversity across all of those.
it's really important to do unconscious bias training and inclusive recruitment training with your panel to make sure they're comfortable with the conversations that they're having and they're aware of their own personal biases. We do all have them, and it's important to address them so that the person on the other side doesn't feel that that is coming through in a panel. And having a consistent approach with every single person that you're interviewing so that it is a fair and inclusive process is also important.